All right. Hi, everybody, and welcome to Hands On. My name is Alana, and I'm from the Innovation Cluster. And for those of you that aren't familiar with the Innovation Cluster, we're a not-for-profit organization that supports startups working in innovation and technology. We do so by offering advisory services and access to partners and workshops such as this one. We could encourage you to apply if you have an innovative idea or a startup working in technology, and you can do that at www.innovationcluster.ca. So again, welcome to Hands On, Secrets to Better Mental Health for Entrepreneurs. Today you will hear from Camila Duarte. She is a Senior Innovation Specialist and the Program Manager of the Startup Visa Program at the Innovation Cluster. So things that you're going to hear today are, or learn, understanding the importance of your mental health as an entrepreneur, gaining a new perspective on how to take care of your mental health today, some practical strategies to start improving your day-to-day practices to be more productive, and also gaining confidence and feeling motivated to implement small changes in your life to advance as an entrepreneur. So I know that Camila has a lot of content to get through today in this hour, so I'm going to pass it over to her and she'll get started.
Thank you so much, Alana, and welcome everyone to this awesome workshop. I couldn't be more excited to be here and have the opportunity to please make sure everyone has their microphones muted for now. You all have opportunities to talk, but for now, just to avoid any background. But anyways, thank you so much for joining us. And this is a great workshop today. Thanks for showing up, for being interested in your well-being and for giving yourself this space. I feel honored and very happy to see people today. Some known faces, some new faces, which is awesome, and see how much this topic is at the top of your priority list today, which should be. I hope you get some time to settle down and take the biggest deep breath that you have had today so far. So you're ready to have a break from multitasking and really diving into being fully present in this workshop that is going to help you, not me, I know this content, but hopefully has a trickle-down effect on your team, your family, your friends, and really makes you understand the importance of mental health for entrepreneurs. Because when you're healthy, everything else is, and you can be more productive and help even more and progress even more. So I'm very happy to be here for you and be the designated person to do that. Because I know some of you know me already. I have worked with you closely, but some of you don't. So I will take the time to tell you and share with you why I'm here today and why the person doing this workshop for you. As Alana said, my title, and I work here with international and regional entrepreneurs to helping them with their business. So I'm an entrepreneur myself. I have my own business and it's focused on life and career coached. The center of my professional career and journey has always been helping people to overcome those obstacles, whether it's business-wise or personal-wise or life-wise. That's my purpose in life. That's what I love to do. And hence I have taken dive into, taking this approach in the professional life and not being focused on one thing, but how can I holistically help people in all the different aspects that is life. And I think entrepreneurship, it's not only about your business, it's about how you deal with your business, how you deal with your team, how do you relate to your business. And that's what I want to convey today. I'm part of a board of directors in the Community Foundation of Greater Peterborough. I'm a newcomer in Peterborough, not so much new, it's been 3 years for me here, but I have gone through several journeys as an entrepreneur, as a businesswoman, as an immigrant, et cetera, that has helped me also put together a great list of tools of how you can overcome a lot of obstacles when being an entrepreneur. So that's a little bit about me, and I hope you stay tuned, that you don't do the double screen, and that you be fully present with me so you can take away something from you. Welcome to the Secrets to Better Health, Mental Health for Entrepreneurs. What I hope you to get out of this is to understand the importance of your mental health as an entrepreneur. Gain a new perspective on how to take care of your mental health today so you're not suffering tomorrow and you're looking for extra help that you could have avoided. And the third thing is to gain confidence and feel motivated to implement the small changes in your life to advance your career as an entrepreneur. As an entrepreneur, taking care of your mental health is essential. And it is easy for entrepreneurs to get caught up in the day-to-day work and forget about their own needs. That's my favorite and the thing that I see the most. However, neglecting one's need will only result in burnout and even more stress. We live in a post-pandemic world, and people say COVID, but I believe that it's isolation pandemic, depressed post-pandemic world. So we want to tackle that, and to ensure that you're giving 100% to your company, to your business, as an employee, whatever it is taking time for yourself, which is the hardest part as an entrepreneur, because we just want to build this empire and we think we don't have time for those things. But we will discuss why it is important, what mental difficulties may look like for you, and what ways you can work on them and show up as your best self for your business success. I'm here to talk about you. This is not a common workshop where we're going to talk about business plans and all that. We're going to talk about you, and that is going to be the biggest challenge for my passionate entrepreneurs who just want to be focused on the business. So I will ask you, stay open-minded. Some of the things are super basic and you're like, yeah, obviously, but when we look at it, we're not doing them. So I hope you put over the chat what kind of business venture you are in, what kind of entrepreneur you are, and what are you hoping to get out of this. So feel free to put that over the chat while I keep going. I would love to see who is here and what your needs are, and if we're on tune. I'll be asking a lot of questions over these hours. So I hope to see things coming in. So first of all, I always say, okay, if we're going to talk about mental health, that we hear it in a lot of marketing and advertisements, and companies are saying they're betting on it. We just need to know, why is that everyone is talking about it? And most times than not, entrepreneurs feel isolated. It's a very lonely journey. It can be a very lonely journey. It doesn't have to be that way. But we need to understand what is going on to really evaluate where we are at, and how, in what the spectrum of things, how healthy and how productive you are right now. So everywhere you look, the Facebook CEOs, the Twitter CEO of these generations are idolized as successful, fulfilled, and happy individuals with all they desire. But the hidden costs of entrepreneurships are rarely mentioned. And according to a study, I think it was done by the University of California, entrepreneurs are 30% more likely to experience depression than members of the general population. So much that clinical psychologists coined the term founder depression, and to represent kind of a subset of depression that is prevalent among entrepreneurs, we use that term. And it's not difficult to pinpoint the factors that kind of fool the founder depression. Entrepreneurs have that challenging of manifesting that the vision to the reality, and the consequences and the hard work that comes from it. And the crazy part is that most of these people do not know they are depressed, or they are going into a burnout zone, and no one talks about it, because you're an entrepreneur, and you should keep going no matter what. That is the idealized idea. And that is what is driving us crazy, because we don't give ourselves permission to stop. Because how come can I do that if I'm an entrepreneur, or if I'm an employee, or everyone is asking more and more about me? Okay. So if we look at what does it even an entrepreneur mean, we look a lot of heavy things that we deal, and sometimes even these apply to employees. So the barriers to success are virtually unlimited, and most startups fail as a result of one of these. But entrepreneurs have lower initial earnings, lower earnings growth, lower long-term earnings, greater work stress, all these things that you see on your screen. Why would anyone voluntarily accept the longer work hours, the fewer weekends and holidays, more responsibility, chronic uncertainty? And by conventional standards, choosing to be an entrepreneur is an exercise in bad judgment, right? It's like, why are you doing this? It's so hard. But perhaps you're optimistic and you're confident by nature. You know, entrepreneurs who close their firms, whether by choice or due to business failure, they can go for another one. They repeatedly create new ones. Often at some time that they are abandoning their last business, it's okay because they're so resilient. So maybe even though the barriers are high, you have the right personality and the right resilience factor to do this. But why do you think you would become one entrepreneur? Why do you think you are one? I see some Ionics there. I see Cynthia. Who else? Who else have Lucas? Awesome. So why do you think you became one, or you want to become one, or maybe you're an employee that are dealing with a lot of the things I described, and why you're doing it? So sorry, I just background. Let me hear. Okay. No, still. Please make sure we. Sorry about that. Okay, so what I was saying is that, what do you think? And I would love to hear from some of you. Why do you think you would become an entrepreneur? Who in the right mind wants to be an entrepreneur?
You're right, I'm quitting. I'm very on mute.
Flexibility, yes. Thank you so much, Afis, for sharing that. That definitely we will talk about all that. So you might be, you know, as an entrepreneurs, we face a lot of stress and pressure, and there are also times when our mental health is at risk because of the problems that come with the business. And such as intense work hours or conflicts,
single person,
co-workers, and all the things that
work every day. It's very difficult.
So sorry, I can't focus with the background noise.
Yeah.
Okay, let's keep trying. So you might be intelligent and risk taker and curious and have deep passion, and you're creative and motivated and self-started and eager to learn, which is awesome. And if you are one of these things or some of these things, that tells me that you have the capability to manage stress better, to make better decisions, to be curious about how you are managing all this, right? So it's very important to know what you are and what you're not when thinking, am I burnout? Am I stressed? How am I dealing with all those things, right? And so once you know that, the mindset and mental health of the entrepreneurs are the most important and the thing that impacts the most our social and economic resources. And what gives entrepreneurs this special power, I would say, neurodiversity and neuroplasticity. That is very technical terms to say that our brains have the capacity to change and evolve. And if you're burned out now, it doesn't mean that this will be forever. It means that you have the capacity to change that cognitive behavior and realize what is not working more for you. So founders, co-founders, self-employed individuals has these cognitive, emotional, and behavioral propensities and traits and strengths and vulnerabilities, like Afi said before. And this is great. This is all giving you the information to know that you have the capacity to change this if you're feeling that, because the mindset can be changed. And I love what Lucas said, that I couldn't stand working 9 to 5. And we're going to explore, if you're not working 9 to 5, how much you're working, but we're going to get to that there in a minute. So let's just start looking what is mental issues may look like, because I hear a lot of my clients say, I'm tired, I'm so irritable, I'm fighting with my family, but they don't know that it's part of the deep roots, that those are symptoms. And so how mental issues may look like can be exhaustion. That chronic emotional and physical exhaustion is a telltale it's a sign that you're getting burnout. If you're struggling to get out of the bed each morning, even after a full night's sleep, you might need to take a break. The cynicism is another common one, which is when entrepreneurs tend to be passionate about what they do, but then no, and they start hating their business. And I have seen a lot of clients that way. And if you're losing interest fast and having negative thoughts about work, that's the work that you choose, the path that you choose, that's a sign that you might be burnout. The other thing is irritability. So that, impatient, even at the smallest obstacle, it's like, okay, I'm done for the day. So, okay, that's another sign that your body is telling you, maybe you should stop and think about what's happening. When you're not efficient anymore, you started your business because you're good at what you do, but burnout can make you feel like you have no clue what you're doing anymore. So you start doubting yourself and you start saying, what am I doing? I should go back to work. I'm not know anything. And you stop problem solving. And I love, Kat, what you said, that I will go back to that in a couple of minutes. Depression, often people mistake burnout with depression or depersonalization, as they have similar symptoms. But so if you're feeling depressed, it might be time to take a look at your work-life balance and day-to-day stressors. And that's come back to Kat, which says balancing a growing business, team members, 2 little kids. Oh my God, that's a lot. And I feel you and I completely hear you. So I'll get to that, Kat. Don't worry about it. We get to that. I'm just trying to expose everything that you might be feeling that maybe you're not even knowing that you're about to be burned out completely. And that's where we don't want to be, right? And so that's a couple of things. You lose focus, you lose motivation, you're not productive, you start procrastinating, all those things. So you start feeling like that sense of emptiness, and you feel physically and emotionally drained. And they start to question their decisions, and life feels like blah, this loss of interest, indifference, or, generally depressed mood that kind of start impacting your business and your job. So, food doesn't taste good, and you have this depressive logic, and it can show socially, emotionally, physically, spiritually, in all kinds of ways. So right now, I want to ask you, where are you in that spectrum? Are you in the, starting getting irritable and I'm just a bit more impatient, but I still get excited to get out of bed? Or maybe you're like in between. Sometimes you're really exhausted, sometimes you hate your idea, but sometimes not. So just start thinking, because this is the major job and part of this is to identify in what kind of automatic pilot we are running into. We go throughout our days with 20 tasks about business, about family, but we never have tasks for ourselves or check-ins with ourselves. So the first part that is gold is to get out of that automatic pilot and ask yourself, where are you in that spectrum? How bad are you feeling right now? What are the symptoms that I have named here that you're feeling? Okay. And if you identify that, and if you feel like, oh yes, I've been feeling this way, I'm hitting a wall, what do I do? Then we can start talking about prevention to get it worse, or how can we mitigate those mental health issues? So the mindset and mental health of the entrepreneurs, we depend upon this so much. And what gives entrepreneurs this special power is, as I said, is that our mindset and our physical body. But we live in a society that celebrates overproductivity and overwork all the time. And that's what I want you to understand, that it doesn't have to be that way to be successful and get what you want in life. So this is very important. And if you notice it now that, okay, I'm kind of getting burnout, I'm kind of getting worried. So this is what I can tell you, how can I get started to mitigate and prevent that. And I know what you're gonna say, oh my God, of course, sleep, eat well, and stress management well. Yes, of course. But we don't do it, and we don't know how to do it, and we don't know how to balance it, right? And one of the things that I love my clients when I say this is like, oh, but how? I don't have time, right? Listen, all the things I just told you I have to do. And I want to forget about the how. The how is a paralyzing theory that is, if you think of how I'm going to be rich, how I'm going to be successful, how am I going to find time to sleep, eat well, and manage my stress, that will tell you right away, paralyze on inaction and don't do anything and keep procrastinating and filling yourself with anxiety. But what happens when you change the how into what? So what can I do right now that can help me feel one tiny little bit better? Is it breathing more? Is it closing my emails for closing my laptop for 5 minutes and stop answering my emails? What is the action, the tangible action that is going to make me feel better? Because if you say how, you're either going to keep answering those emails, keep overworking, not paying attention at your brain telling you that you need to stop, and or feeling frustrated because of course you don't know how. That's a big universal question that you probably won't have the answer at that moment. So you need to start thinking, yes, I know sleep and eating well, stress management is okay, but I don't know how to do it. So let's remove the how and say, what can you do? And one of the biggest problems that you will face as an entrepreneur is stress. Stress comes from many different sources, and it can be hard to keep yourself happy and healthy while running a business. So there are some ways, however, in which you can stay positive and avoid mental health issues. And so one of them is keep your schedule flexible, for example. You should always try to leave some time for yourself so that you can relax and be happy. And again, my fun of house people is not like, oh, how I'm busy. What about 5 minutes to start with? What about a longer bath just to stay there for 5 more minutes and think of how am I, what do I need right now? What do I need to do for me? And all these things are super underrated because people don't pay attention and don't know how important they are. Getting enough sleep, it is important to get the right amount of sleep to stay calm and collected during the day. We're seeing leaders in the world who are not sleeping, sleep deprived, and they're making the worst decisions right now, and they're losing billions of money because one being the lack of sleep. So it's going to be hard to maintain that lifestyle, which turns out that affects your mental health adversely, and your business is not going to go anywhere. That's another obvious one is exercising regularly. And I'm not saying go buy a membership in the gym. You don't have time, right? So what can you do? In what manner can you move your body daily that it doesn't take you an hour, 2 hours from your day? Maybe take a walk with your kid. Maybe take 30 minutes of your day to play with them actively, to teach them something active. Maybe block 15 minutes before lunch or after lunch to go and have some fresh air. Very simple things. Nothing is outrageous. But one way to reduce your stress levels is by exercising on a regular basis. 3 times a week is enough if you don't have much time. But all of these is going to help you. Entrepreneurs are particularly likely to experience stress compared to the working population. So it's always caused by uncertainty, loneliness, financial concerns, and it can escalate without the right support. And I know you want to hear other tools, which I will give you, but we cannot talk about aligning ourselves without asking ourselves how we are physically, because this is our tool, right? Your brain is in your body, your fingers is in your body, is part of your body. So we need to talk about how much are you adding to your body, how much is stress and how you're dealing with it, and how are you taking care of your body, right? So the physical part is as important as the next part, psychological part, mental part, mindset part. And so I couldn't skip it because even the mental health issues present physically, right? If it's cardiovascular, your heart pounding or beating fast when the anxiety comes, the flushing, the blushing, the cold hands, the feet, the sweaty palms, you will start breathing faster or shallow breathing. Maybe you get indigestion or constipation, or all these things are signs within your body. So how are you helping your body to deal with some parts that it's asking you to, right? In the mind is all this racing thoughts that can't relax, that can't shut down, the worry, the anger, the short fuse, you don't find joy anymore in your life. And that is the number one reason why we're so stressed and depressed. Because if I ask you right now, how much joy are you having in your life? And that is a big component, and it's a big question for you. Believe it or not, we need that. We are wired to be social, to not be isolated, to have a sense of belonging, and we crave that. And we don't have any of those. Mental health issues come and penetrate in your business intentions and objectives. So it's very important. So this is the physical part I cannot skip, because it wouldn't be right for me to not say it, even though it sounds so basic and low level, but it's necessary. Change your physiology and you change your life. Even if you're stressed or sad, if you start jumping, if you start laughing, sad, and I know it's hard to do it in the moment, but there have been research experiments, and there's a lot of research behind the physiology of depression and all these burnout signs. You have to change your body. It's not the same that I stand up here like this, and like if I talk to you like this, well, it's not going to be the same energy. So the energy that you keep flowing in your body, that's going to help you mental health wise. So it's as important as the mindset that I'm going to start talking about it. Any questions so far? Any comments? Any, I don't agree, I agree, oh, I didn't know that, I knew all that, anything? I regularly cycle between exhaustion and optimism. Half of the week, I'm very enthusiastic about all my projects, and half of the week, I'm very productive and tax avoidant. Okay, so that's a great sign. And it's telling me, oof, maybe it's not completely balanced. Maybe there's some things throughout the week, throughout the lows, that there's not happening, that maybe is happening in the highs. And we can identify some of them right now. So that's a great point. That happens. So in the mindset side of things, so there's a tendency for entrepreneurs to define themselves by the success of their business venture. And this is so common for my clients. If you think your value is only how successful you are, and not only successful in the business, but as an employee, how much achievements you have, you are putting so much stress, invisible stress, chronic stress under your nervous system, under your body, that is not visible. And that can contribute to all other things of your life and the pressure that you feel. In difficult cases, entrepreneurs can end up spending more time on their business, try to make things work, and neglect their friends, family, life outside of work, make time to proactive self-work within you, and realize that the figures on the balance sheet do not define you. And if you think that define you, if you think that the success you have in life, in the outside world, out of your body, if you think that having that house or achieving the unicorn status will give you that happiness, and you're chasing that and you're defining your worth and value with that, I can guarantee you're going to be depressed in 1-2 years. Why? Because we need to know that our worth and value has nothing to do with our achievements as a person. But we tend to do it, especially if you're an entrepreneur. And why is that? Because one, society has told us that, so it's not our fault, but we can own that. We can identify, who am I without my business? Who am I without my work? What do I do out of my work? How I feel. If we remove the work, the business, and the achievements that are physical and tangible, who am I? Am I happy within myself? I'm authentic. I'm a business owner because I'm passionate about this idea and I know my impact. So that's the first question for you. So who are you? And what is the value you think you have? Is it connected to your business? Is it tied to the achievements, the wins of the day? Because if you're a salesperson, you will hear 20 million no's. And if you tie that value to your own and you identify for that, every day you're going to feel so bad. But if you know who you are, regardless of the 20 no's, 2 businesses that are fell through, you're going to feel the same. You're going to be calm because you know who you are and you know this is the business. This is another entity. That's why we incorporate. That's why we open another name. We're not that person. We're not that business. So very, very important. Okay. Is that clear? We always try to maintain positivity by being around positive people and positive. That's amazing. That's very important. And that's something that COVID took from us. And in the innovation cluster, for example, we're trying to bring that back because we know how important and how tired our entrepreneurs feel and isolated and lonely. So that is very important. Finding the balance is critical, yes, but I'm not saying change your life now because that's unrealistic. It's just starting to get out of the autopilot all the time. And the questions are going to be your focus. If you ask questions, if you ask the right questions in terms of what is that is bothering you and how it's affecting you, you're going to get the bottom, and then you're going to be able to take action. Okay. So the other thing is define your zone of genius. When you started working for yourself, you probably took up the roles of a whole team of people. So you were the CEO, the finance director, the sales manager, all at the same time. But you don't probably want to carry on this way. So it's time to define what is that you prefer the most, that you love the most to do, and make a plan of how can you, what is the amount of time that you need to dedicate to all the things that you don't like, and what possibilities are on delegate or finding partnerships, or what is that zone that will help you thrive instead of putting amounts of work for you, okay? Another important, and Ambrose said it here, you've heard a lot about business network. First, the clients come here and say, I need my business network. That's all I need to build. But what about a support network? So alongside building a team to support you with business tasks, we really need to build that support network of stakeholders who care about you and your business. And this can be friends, this can be family, this can be mentors, this can be suppliers, this can be customer. But building your entrepreneurial ecosystem, that needs to be part of it. So it's not only for partnerships and investment, it needs to be a time for you to go for a coffee and vent and say, my business sucks right now. I don't have clients. I don't understand the market. What am I doing? And that is part of the successful stories that we hear from successful entrepreneurs. They're like, I had my support network in such a foundational way that they penetrated in different ways into my business and decisions and helped me go in through those lows. So do you have that? And this is the next one is really good because it's like, make the most of your work out of your working hours. And I see a lot of people saying work-life balance, which is really tough nowadays, especially if you work from home. But it is important to set yourself working on certain hours and stick to them. While this may seem impossible, I know the house people, but in the beginning might seem very hard, but it is possible. Hacks like putting your working hours in your signature, for example, under your signature in your emails, will start preparing your clients for your downtime. So they know that there's no way I answer emails at the innovation cluster after 4:30, because I respect that, and I have a life and I need to take care of myself. If it's 5:30, 6:30, doesn't matter. But start educating your network as well, because that is really important. So that's good. And if you want to learn how to manage your time effectively, there are a lot of things that because we're so focused on growing the business, which is an obvious one, but the way you structure your day every day, the way you start your day really dictates the productivity and how you feel with your day. And that ties to be your best boss, because I love the entrepreneurs who say, I hated my boss, I didn't like it, and I wanted to go on my own. And when I go and look at what they're doing for themselves and being their own boss, I'm like, well, what happened? Because many entrepreneurs find themselves working for more than they would ask an employee to do for them. So if you want to be productive and happy, think about it outside of your own business owner mentality. So you're still a boss. You're the boss of yourself, most likely. What kind of boss are you being with yourself? Are you telling yourself all the time you're not doing enough, you should work more, you're not good at this, what are you even trying? Imagine a boss telling you that all the time. How quickly can you get burnout? It's like in 2 days, a week, a month. So that is very important. Like, what kind of quality of words internally, because you're on your own boss, you're telling yourself, oh, I'm not doing enough and I should work Sundays. I'm lazy if I don't work on weekends. There's always time to do more. We can always do more. But if we do more and we spend the whole bar, we only have 100% battery. Like, it's not 110, it's not 200, the energy amount we carry with ourselves every day. So you only have an option to spend your 100% in one way or the other. Working out, having with your friends, or working. You cannot spend 100% in every single thing. So what, if you want it or not, the reality is that you only have 100% probability to spend your energy on a day. And so where are you spending that energy? Just telling yourself and not being the great boss, that consumes energy because it's with yourself. Think about the boss telling the employee all those things and telling them work 13 hours nonstop. The boss doesn't feel bad. The person who feels bad and burnout is the person who's working 14 hours. But if you're the boss and you're still telling yourself that, what productivity you're going to be doing? How tiring is that? And how bad it is that you're not being your best boss, your best advocate. You need to recognize what you do on a day. How do you end your workday? Okay, this is what I did. I didn't do all that I wanted, but I did my best. And now it's 5:30. I want to spend time with my kids, or I want to go to the movies. I don't know what you like to do, but it's so important. It's so part of the pilot automatic machine that we live in. And the other thing is that alongside productivity working hours, giving yourself ample downtime is crucial. And in its most simple sense, getting a good amount of rest and sleep can improve your productivity at work. So you will also be motivated while at work, knowing that you have free time to enjoy and work towards. So the latest research and insights into nurturing your mental health and well-being is based on you need to see your downtime as an investment as much as your work time. So you can thrive in your work and all aspects of your life. You need to have time when you do nothing. And the most creative ideas, the most fresh we feel, we bring that to the business. It's like a cycle. You're feeding your cycle either with negative, non-productive actions and thoughts, or you're feeding your cycle with positive, productive downtown investment for you, where it gives you more force to bring more ideas, to figure out a problem that is killing your business, to go and talk to others, to disconnect, to reconnect. So my question for you again, and I hope you're writing all these questions because you need to answer them if you want to change your life, is how good are you at asking yourself those questions? How you are and being okay with doing nothing in a week? How much of that does that time exist for you? Do you allow yourself to enjoy doing nothing, to enjoy the downtime, or you're stressed thinking of what I have to do the next day? Because that's not downtime, that's just like anxiety provoking time, right? So what is that for you? And I really want you to be honest, and honesty is hard because it's so hard to accept that we're not maybe being our best boss all the time, and we don't have downtime for us. So those are really, really good questions. Any questions for me? So far, so good? Good, awesome, okay. I'll keep going. The other thing is that this is backed up by tremendous amount of research you can imagine, but entrepreneurs are often portrayed as superheroes, which we use because we do believe you're superheroes, but the superheroes are not perfect, and that's the mismatch there. They're broken, they have reinvented the wheel, they thought outside the box, which is awesome. But working for yourself can often feel like the opposite, and that's the expectation. So the expectations are so high and unrealistic because it's your own business that you can ask yourself whatever you want. And the expectation of having it all together at all times can make it even harder to recognize your weaknesses, to be blindsided about your business that is not working, and stopping yourself from expecting big changes, because it's not going to happen if your expectations are unrealistic. What if you change your expectations for appreciation? So when you're in those lows, it's said that if you change those expectations that are not being met into appreciation, thankfulness, gratefulness, your life completely will change. And I'm telling you, I'm talking about productivity, I'm talking about business success here too. When you are in that zone and you don't go searching for happiness, all the time, and it's okay to focus on happiness, again, not tied to achievements and all that, but trying to be content with the progress you do is a mental or emotional state that gives you satisfaction. And it's being comfortable in your mind, with your body, with your surroundings, with your status of your business. And this can be achieved through practice. I'm not saying if you do it tomorrow it's going to work, but I am saying that over time you kind of start see the earnings of practicing that, of removing those high expectations every day. It's just exhausting even saying it, into more content, gratefulness, thankfulness for what you've done already. And that right away will improve your mental resilience. You're shifting your focus from happiness to contentment. You're building up your mental resilience, will enable you to, as Lucas said before, to weather the low periods of running a business. Those are the things that will help you in the low moments. And a good business leader is one that can stay positive in the face of the adversity, thinking clearly despite negative situations that may be out of your control sometimes. But we all have the capacity to become this person, because it just takes practice to get there, right? So that is also how you will maximize your potential and likelihood of success in your business. And research shows that when successful people get to achieve that house, that deal, that multi-million-dollar deal, and they thought that would give them happiness, it feels worse when they get there and they realize that it won't give you the happiness you thought, as if you hadn't even gotten it yet. So you even feel more miserable and happy when you realize, like, I got my business running, it's successful, what am still empty and miserable, right? So that's not the way to do it. But if you start with a little practice, 1 minute a day, 30 seconds, 15 seconds a day, that will become very useful for you. And you can expect immediate results as an entrepreneur. And so this mentality is hard and it's not productive. And the first thing that I want to say is that if you find your kind of resilience kind of trifecta, it would be super helpful for you to deal with your mindset and your mental health. But you have to step back from the business for 1 second to get this done, because it's counterproductive. So we need you to stop for a minute and focus on what helps your body and mind to feel calm, if you ever feel calm. If not, well, we have to start in another place. And how do you like to move your body? So maybe for some it's jiu-jitsu, for others it's just walking, others is just a stationary bike, but what is it? And you can only know that by trying different things, of course. And what renews your spirit and fills your soul? And that sounds a little bit cheesy for my hardcore business people, but it is true. And successful business owners and successful people in general. And part of my work is just understanding successful people in depth. So everything I read and I study is about these three components were not together and they're ignored, and people think it's the other side of things, the business that will give you those things. But if you understand your personality, you identify where you're not paying attention, and you try to discover these three resilience principles, I guarantee you, you're going to see a change. And when the lows come, you're going to manage them so much better, so much better. So these are things that I'm not saying take these 10 things and do them tomorrow. It's unrealistic, but take one thing that really kind of clicked in your head. For some people is the physical thing, for some people is the mindset thing, but what is that you can start doing tomorrow or tonight when you finish your workday, right? I love this thing that I read in a really cool book from a successful person. It was anxiety is excitement without breathing, or without breath. And so if you breathe through, it becomes excitement. And so I wanted you to think how much you could make and do and contribute if we took all the anxiety time that we have spent on our days feeling so stressed and anxious about it, and we just breathe and we just step back. Actually, I have a doctor's friend who said that the person, there was a patient that had, it was chaotic and losing it mental health wise. And the doctor recommended to start breathing with the pressure, measuring the blood pressure. And the blood pressure got lower in only after 45 seconds of breathing better. So it's so powerful. If you can take anything from here, just breathe through, right? It's so simple, yet we're not doing it enough. And imagine how much you can do with that anxiety shaped into excitement, and how much you can do within a day if you're practicing that, right? The other important thing is that business is a marathon, it's not a sprint. This is very common, nothing new there. But keeping a check into our perfectionist souls. I'm a perfectionist in recovery, I must say myself, and it has taken quite a bit of time understanding that productivity is not the answer all the time. And I thought that for so many years, especially from my culture, is just that's what it is. But it doesn't need to be obsessive and excessive. You know when to take an ask off your desk and focus on doing your best in a competitive environment, in the society you live in, with all the programs you have. Sometimes less is the answer. And so integrating many of these short-term practices we have listed and hopefully will help you manage your business in the long term. It's a huge learning curve, because we're not used to think of ourselves. We're just used to what can I achieve tomorrow, and I need more money and all these things. But I guarantee you it's going to bring you more money and more businesses if we take care of ourselves as well. So I just hope that you get the time to think of what is those three things, those KPIs, because my business owners love KPIs. How can you bring this to the table and identify your sources of stress? It's your mindset, it's your questions, it's the way you talk to yourself. And so you can, out of everything I talked about today, what are the things that you can implement to kind of help those issues? If it's your expectations, okay, how can I bring more gratefulness into my practice? If it's your over productivity, okay, how can I stop for 10 minutes of doing nothing and kind of start enjoying that? If it's your anxiety, okay, how can I start breathing better? So, but first you need to understand what is your autopilot telling you. So you need to start asking, what is the question that I ask myself every day? What kind of questions am I asking, as if empowering me, disempowering me? So it's as important as the others, right? I added here a lot of mental health resources. So there are a lot of things that you can take a look into. There are third-party solutions like Beacon and Dialogue and Better. This is online virtual therapy in case you need it, that you're at that point that you're burnout, past burnout, depressed. So there are a lot of resources that can help you. So I invite you to take a look at this. If you're interested, please email me to let me know if you're interested into the slide deck, because I know there's a lot of gold there, and I don't know if you took notes or not, but let me know if you are. There are non-for-profits that can help you manage a lot of things in your business. There are a lot of applications and resources out there: Calm, Headspace, Mood Notes, Vulcan, Unwinding Anxiety, and The Fabulous. And for those of you who are into podcasts, I love this podcast. Really, really helpful when I feel that there's no hope in the world. The Anxious Achiever talks about when leaders model openness about their mental health. Rethink Mental Health and Work, with candid stories from leaders who've been there. So this is what I study the most. It's what successful people have to teach us, to the ones that we're trying to get there. Biggest tip is time offline. Put your phone in another room for a few hours a day. I also try to do Sunday offline. Oh, I love it. And I love that you love Headspace. Headspace is a great one. I also use that one. I love the voice of the guy. So that's why I kept that. Kat, did you learn today something new? Has anyone learned anything new today? Something helpful? I would love to see it over the chat. On purpose, anything. You have so many resources there that I can keep talking about them, but I'm conscious of the time. So I just want to say that understanding yourself, the strengths and vulnerabilities, and it doesn't have to be associated with the personal and familial and mental health. It could help. But you can improve your entrepreneurial outcomes. And I had created a quick survey for you, because I would love to hear if this was helpful or not. And what do you think about it? If you liked it, if you didn't learn anything new, I would love to. I just wanted to know that you now know these front and center, and they understand the impact, and hopefully you see the impact on your mental health, how impacts how impacts your business. So hopefully you understand now that it's not all about your business, but it's how you take care of yourself that will impact the successful of your business. So any questions? We have a couple more minutes. I would love to hear from you. What do you think? What do you think? Is it true? Is it not true? Who wants to go? Oh, did you learn something new or not at all and wasn't helpful? Reza, go ahead.
Thank you, Camila. It was a very great and different lecture from you, and I really enjoyed. One thing that I think that I learned from this is about mental resilience. Okay, if I want to say in short, the type of technology I think is adherent to mental resilience, I can take an example. For example, there are some technologies have a short time from development to commercial phase. Okay, but for example, in our industry, from development to commercial phase, it
for us, an
takes
example,
minimum 3 years, and sometimes 5 years. That needs to enforce our mental resilience according to that technology. Some technologies also, for example, is software development. Sometimes the software development is only 6 months, 8 months to the market. So, but some other technologies may have to practice more for mental resilience. High-tech technologies. I think that technologies that take a longer time from development to commercial phase. Thank you.
Right. I lost you the last 30 seconds. Sorry.
I want to say that it depends on the technology. Okay, the technologies that are the higher technologies, the high-tech technologies that from development phase to commercial phase, it takes a long time. So the mental resilience practice needs more and more. But some technologies are, for example, software development. Maybe it takes only 6 months. Okay, so here maybe the mental resilience needs to be less than from other high-tech technologies. That from development phase to technology to commercial phase, it takes a long time, and so the individuals must practice to enforce them in terms of mental resilience.
Yeah, and it's a good point, but the purpose of the resilience piece and the principle is just that make sure you have a practice in place. This is not going to work if you do it once a week. This is what can you do every day to help yourself, and your business is one thing, but you are another part and another very important piece. So what is that suits you? What is that helps you? What is that fits you? What is that complements you, that can help you build that resilience, that when the lows come, you prepare and you have practice and it's become part of your habits. So you don't have to exchange or sacrifice things. It's that a strategic practice and mindfulness about it, knowing that you have to get out of the automatic pilot in order to make a change. And the change only happens if it's practice. If you write on a journal once a week, it's not the same that you write 1 minute on a journal every day. So it's what we do every day that counts. It's the consistency of it. Is the intention, what we come and how we come to tackle the problems, and how we have that perspective in the back in our robot mind about it. When we listened to that bossy voice in your head, it's not helpful. So is that how you bring those practices to the daily practice, right? To the daily day-to-day life kind of thing. Thank you, Reza. Anyone else? All right, awesome. Well, thank you for being here. Thank you for sharing and being vulnerable with me. I hope you take something small even out of this, and I'm happy to connect if you want to. I really, really appreciate your time, and I hope it was useful for you. That is the most important thing for me. So thank you. Take care. Good luck with your resilience mapping, and I hope your mental health stays healthy and you succeed very, very soon. Okay, so good luck, everyone. Thank you so much for coming. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thank you. Goodbye.